Join internationally acclaimed overland expert Paul Marsh and award-winning journalist Gregory Simpson as they delve into all things responsible overlanding. From choosing the right vehicle, getting yourself prepared, getting your vehicle prepared, safety tips, and much, much more. Only on Responsible Overlanding.
It's much cheaper to listen and learn from a lesson that someone shares from it than to actually have pain doing it yourself and go, oh, if I'd listened to it, it would have saved me this experience. You know. So
what's the biggest mistake people that don't listen make?
If it's kitting the vehicle, it's taking too much of the wrong kit and making just too heavy, and it's just too full and it's too much, and that can be based on not knowing enough or fear. I need to take this just in case. What if? So yes, there is a what if element, and there is a case. That's why we put together a spares kit, a repair kit, a recovery kit, a tool kit, first aid kits. Those are all there for a good reason. But if it's on the trips, I think often people are trying to go too fast, take in too much. Focus on doing less, and less is more. And if you get that, you get a better experience, and that's what's going to give you more enjoyment, more fun, more safety.
African time.
Yeah, African time. Nothing wrong with that.
And if a high rider comes with a blank check, what would be your dream car to do a build on?
So it's interesting. So I've had a good few clients in my time who've actually turned around to me and said to me, Paul, build a truck as if it's your own. And I've got one project on the go. It's a lovely family. I'm really looking forward to this truck. It's the hardest project to take on.
It's a dream project.
Because they're asking you to build a vehicle as if it's your own. So, where do you go? To meet expectations. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm blessed to have people who do that, because I think it's a great privilege. And I do enjoy it, and it's important that if any truck I build, I want to build it, it must be like it's my own truck. I don't want to take shortcuts on a truck. I'd rather leave something out and do something proper. So, what's the best truck? Again, if you said to me, someone's got a blank check, I can't give you a truck until I understand where they're going and what they're doing, because it's that important. So when I understand the story, then I can go. The family that I'm building this truck for, it's going to be a troopy because they've got 2 young children.
Is that a second-hand troopy?
It's a second-hand troopy.
Do you ever buy them from Aussie and import them here?
We haven't, and it would be something to look at. It's not so easy bringing trucks in from other countries because it's import duties, and that's another whole challenge. But for a family like this, it's understanding their needs and how we're going to build it and what's going to happen. So yeah, it's not something I take lightly. But the critical thing is you've got to meet the expectation, and that's important.
One thing for sure, it'll be a Toyota.
Oh yeah, look, I think 95% of the trucks that we build are Toyotas. I do occasionally, we do the Land Rovers. I've got a new truck coming in from Mozambique for a client from South America, and it's a Land Rover. It's a great truck he's bought, and we'll build a great truck for him. It's going to be a camper, and it's going to have a pop-up roof, and so that's going to be another exciting project, because the 110 lends itself also to build a lovely vehicle. But again, my choice is Land Cruiser, and the Hilux too. They have a great platform. They have a very good footprint where you can get support.
And Hiluxes very well.
Yeah,
especially the one you started off.
No, my first Hilux through Africa has a story of its own, but that's another story. But it's a very capable vehicle. They're not as strong.
But that was just for overloading. I mean, it's a common mistake anyway.
Listen, my truck cracked the chassis, and that cracked in the chassis, and we were way too heavy.
Yeah.
The roads were pretty extreme, and we were using tires that are different to tires today, and so there's a lot, and I didn't have the suspension on that we've got today, and so we broke a lot of leaf springs, and so you learn. That's the hard part,
And towing a trailer with these camper trailers, do you recommend that, or too much weight?
No, it's not that it's too much weight. I think a trailer has its place, as does an off-road caravan. People often ask and say, well, what about a trailer? if people are going to go on a solo trip and they're going to go up through Africa, I actually don't want them to take a trailer. I kind of discourage it, because I think if you go in difficult situations, a trailer can be more complex to try and recover, especially if you're by yourselves. For a lot of people with families and doing shorter trips, it's a great way, because you can go, you can set up a base, especially when you're going to base yourself in a place for a while. You know, if someone's doing research and they're going to dump themselves into central Kalahari somewhere and do research for 6 months, then maybe a camper trailer or a camper caravan, off-road caravan is the answer, because you've got a really nice base and you've got your vehicle free to move around. But these days, with the sort of pop-up tents that you can close effortlessly and very quickly, it doesn't take much to wake up, close the tent, grab your flask of coffee and drive off on an early morning game drive. You know, that's half the fun. So,
And people coming and having this big dream of a big MAN six-wheeler, do you kind of dampen them a bit on that?
It works for some people. I've found over the years I've had a lot of people ask me to build those vehicles. I don't really I advise on those projects, but I don't build them myself. It's got its place, but it's a bigger truck and it's more complex, and you've got a lot of restrictions in certain areas. Well, also the track that you drive in is different. Yeah. Some game parks won't allow big trucks in. Parking it up in cities is difficult. You know, you become more recluse in living in that van. But you know, some people go and they go, you know what, this is our home. And I've met people on trips and they've sold their home. They've got a small place they live in, and they've bought this mobile home. It just happens to be a 4-wheel drive. And good on them, because they will go and travel for months on end, and sometimes this is part of their life, you know. Part is living in the summer, let's say in Europe, and the other part is in their big truck and they're traveling around South America. So they've clearly got more comfort on board. But then I often say to folk, you know what, you spend a lot of money building a truck like that. It's probably 3 or maybe even 4 times the cost of building a normal troopy, let's say. And you can take that cash and you can stay at some very nice P&Bs and hotels, and that often gives you a break from the vehicle, which I think is important.
That must be a welcome break sometimes.
But you need to. You know, on the very first trip our budget was very tight, and we had a set amount we spent every day, and we used to accurately sort of monitor it to get our money to spin out for the year and a half we were traveling. But we used to, every day we didn't spend our full budget, we put that into a little kitty. And when it was flush and full, we'd go and stay in a few days in a B&B or a little lodge or something. That was great, you know. And I share a lot of that with clients. I say, you need that time out from your vehicle. You need to take a break where you can have a nice bath, or you can have a nice shower, and you can just relax, and there's food cooked for you, and you can just unwind. Because traveling is stressful. Because the vehicle and the intensity of everything is demanding. So by doing that, you prolong the enjoyment, you take out those breaks, you can catch up with some reading, you can just do whatever you need to do, you know. And people focus a lot of time on their blogs and all that, and that's great, and they share great knowledge and experience, but it's also take time for you, take time out just to relax and just to be.
Do you think sometimes the bloggers miss something, always being behind a camera and not really?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, it's a discipline. You know, we all want to capture what we're going to experience and share it, sometimes at the cost of enjoying the actual moment. And I've caught myself doing it, you know. So you're behind the camera, you're trying to get the best sunset picture, and I've quite often actually put my camera down and just gone, let me just enjoy this moment.
It's the best camera in the world.
Yeah, that was shared my very first trip out, and bumped into some cyclists, and they turned around and said to me, we don't have much on our bicycle. The camera they had was one between 4 of them, and they had a few rolls of film. I said, well, you're losing all these pictures. He said, no. Yeah, very, very important. So I learned a great lesson there, and it's true. But you know, as technology is so easy, and it's so, you know, phones are taking stuff, and all too often, you know, people are just trying to capture every moment on that.
And never look at it again.
And you don't look at it again.
That's ironic part.
Yeah, and I think that's true. You're absolutely right. You know, you'll come home, and the reality, you've now got all this footage to look through and cut if it's video. And sometimes it's just too much. So I encourage folk, if they're going to, before you go on your trip, go and learn how to use your video camera. Learn how to take good videos on your phone.
Sometimes a picture is all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, video's there, and video is a very big medium of people sharing, and like we're filming now, it's great. But if you learn how to do it properly, you can take less video, capture more of the moment. And that's all you need. You need a short piece of video to bring back that whole memory. And it's not about, you're never going to be able to share the moment you shared, that you enjoyed with someone in the same way. The sunset that you looked at standing on that cliff overlooking the valley, I can get a glimpse, and the video will give me a glimpse, but I'll never relive it the way you've experienced it. And that's what you're doing with a lot of the footage, I think. And then the likes of people who do it professionally, filmmakers who put stuff together, and that's fantastic, because they're going, but that's work. They're not doing that to come and enjoy their trip and holiday and experience it. They're doing it mindfully to actually connect you, the person sitting at home in his armchair, with an experience that they've actually done.
And the flip side of blogging, are some secret spots now not so secret?
Yeah, some that does happen. Everyone has their little secret spot. It's not bad. I think people need to just be respectful. Respectful of the fact that some of these places are very fragile ecosystems, and by going in and treading heavily with lots of people and lots of traffic. I mean, we've recently done a trip with a friend of mine who has a company in England, and Duncan owns Tour de Force, and we have a great energy between the team who run these trips, and we go right northern Namibia to some very remote areas, and it's fantastic. It's not well travelled by a lot of people. You can get there, people do go there, and it's nice to actually share that with people, because their aim was to really allow the local communities to benefit from the tourism in a way that gives something back. So it's give back to the local communities in a way where we are compensating them for being able to use their campsite, if it's a community-based campsite, and we're able to take people to some more remote experiences. The world is becoming less of a mystery to travel, because it's being filmed and because people are going to more places easier. So you're looking harder to get the really remote places. They're out there, trust me, they're out there.
That's half the challenge.
That's half the challenge.
And the fun.
That's the fun.
And when you go down the road at 80 k's an hour, what are you listening to?
I seldom, if I'm driving by myself and I'm taking a vehicle and just heading up somewhere, I actually don't listen to I listen to what's around me.
So you just soaking it all
I
up?
actually, I'll take music, but I don't actually listen to a lot of music when I'm traveling, especially by myself. It's time to just think. When I was in my 20s, I did a motorbike trip around the entire coast of South Africa, and you could literally sleep on beaches and half-built hotels. And I remember driving back from that, and I've been right round and up into bits of Namibia, coming back, and I was sad because I still had a lot to think about. I really enjoyed the time to just think. And I think sometimes we don't just take that time to just daydream and just think. When last did you take some time and just daydream? Dream something up, imagine it, create it. When last did we do that? We fill our lives with so much that we forget to take the time to smell the roses.
Amen. So in summary, for preparation, the main thing is listening and learning before you buy anything.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at that, I encourage people to understand what you're getting into. Sit down, put the plan down on paper. Get the enormity of what you're taking on. It's not just the vehicle. Get the full picture. And that's why for me it's very important for people. Once the clients drive out of here, my responsibility continues, because I offer a support package so that they can come back to me if they're on a trip and go, I need some help. So understand the full extent of what you're going to do. Then look at who you're going to connect with, why you're going to connect with them, and is it a fit for you? And I think that's going to give you probably a better role before you start spending money and buying stuff like that. Understand what you need, where you're going, how you're going to do it, how it's going to look. What does the picture look like, as they say? And then I think you'll have a much more confident knowing that this is right, I'm working with the right people, this is the right vehicle, this is the kit, and the reasoning behind it makes good sense.
And you take that responsibility very seriously.
I do. I think anyone who who does the work that I do, you know, all do. And I think that, you know, the people who are passionate in the overland industry, and there's some great people in the industry who absolutely, you know, we all collaborate and share because, you know, we all have the same passion. We all want to share responsible overlanding. And I think, you know, that if we could put that into perspective, what is responsible overlanding? That's probably something that we all want to work on. We want to share knowledge. For me, my legacy I want to leave behind is not the knowledge locked up in my head. That doesn't serve anyone. You know, I want to share the knowledge so people can take my experience, which is one small experience, and take that as they do everyone else's experience and value and learn from it. Learn some of the lessons I learned that cost me big, you know, that were near life-threatening, that I could actually come back and say those lessons. And if that's what I can give to people who are going to go overlanding, that's my gift.